So, I keep hearing that's a good team. In fact, I've even said it myself, but is it really, or is it one sandwich short? Are we really going to see a team field a rider for one meeting, in fact, one heat, and then fill that rider's place with guests for the rest of the season? Certainly looks like it. And also, with 16 days to the World Cup, apropos of nothing, the venue gets changed. 16 days to go. Good luck if you have already booked flights and hotels. Only in Speedway. Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are we doing?
All good. All good.
All of
good
us
so far.
Well,
yeah.
Two of us are anyway.
Yeah.
Less said about that the best, I think. For people might be eating their dinner. Yeah, so I only just found out about this because Matt's just informed me they've changed the venue for the World Cup.
They have indeed. The 4-day event to crown the 2022 World Team Champions will still be raced from July the 27th to the 30th, but will now take place in Voyens. The change was necessary after the EMS event ASP's Chief Executive Officer Lars Gildargadaya stepped down from his position due to ill health, and the board of directors from that company was unable to continue to run the event. We wish him all the best for a speedy recovery. We thank our partners at Voyens Speedway Centre for being willing to step up and host the event at such short notice, and look forward to working with them to make the first SON of the new era a great success. Voyens Speedway Centre is located just 71 kilometres away from Ellsberg's Grandy Speedway Arena, and it is hoped that this will cause as little disruption as possible to both teams and supporters' travel plans.
So they've got to find an extra. It's about 50 miles, isn't it?
71 kilometres, it's about 50 miles, isn't it? So it's a bit short. Obviously, the reasons are obviously not,
the reasons are the reasons, but
it's certainly not ideal.
Not
I
ideal.
don't think.
Could you see that happening in any other sports?
Well, possibly not. So.
For a World Cup, answers on a postcard.
Only in Speedway.
Only in Speedway.
Of course, they will announce the squads for that later this week, so that'll be something that we can look on
absolutely.
On the next show.
They've also announced the squads for the British final.
They have indeed,
which we'll have a look at in a minute. But before we do that, Chris, how can people participate?
Okay, so we're all over Facebook. Just search for UK Speedway Tavern. We're also live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. I forgot then. On YouTube. So we're also live on there. Again, search for UK Speedway Tavern. And also you can catch this this show as a podcast from around about midday tomorrow afternoon. So midday from Wednesday. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, and a load more.
And Alexa as well, I believe.
Alexa as well, yeah.
Have you checked that out yet?
Alexa, no. It probably won't work now. I'll try it tomorrow.
And also, just join in, guys. Put yourselves on the shout box there, the chat box on any of the other platforms that you're on, and we'll pick it up one way or t'other, and you can become part of the show. Talking of which, poor Webby again last week. Distraught, wasn't you?
Very, yeah.
You've got this telephone number. You want people to ring in.
Oh, yeah, if you really, really want to, you can call in, on 0777 911 70082. Although, in a few weeks' time, we're going to have a dedicated WhatsApp line, so you can just WhatsApp, and it's a lot easier.
Okay. That would be cool. I bet you still nobody will ring in.
No,
probably not.
No, too scared.
Nobody's as idiotic as us Indians live on air. That's right. Yeah. That's the short and tall of it. So we've both been to a Speedway match over the past week or so.
Yeah, only the one though, of course.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Should we talk about that? Well, you talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
You're just going to go along the corduroy,
yeah, I'm going to go and cry.
Literally. As well as Glasgow, listen, you can't take anything away from Glasgow. They really did hit Birmingham right from the start of the meeting.
Good team, aren't they?
They've had a good run of form especially away from home recently. But I thought it was a really poor performance for Birmingham. I think James Shanes rode well. He battled hard all the way through the meeting, 7 and 4. Ashley Morris was had problems in his first couple of races. 2 and 1 from his 3 rides that he did manage to complete. But really, I think Birmingham were hit hard by the
Klaus Wissing situation.
The absence of Klaus Wissing. Obviously now got a 28-day ban for technically withholding his services. I'm rather dubious that you'll see him in Birmingham colours again this season.
I don't think we will. I don't think we will.
Yeah. Stefan Nielsen didn't have a great night, scored 5 and 1. He's certainly not his best performance at Perry Bar.
But I mean, to give him his due, we always say that number 2 position is difficult, and then against a team like Glasgow it's doubly difficult, isn't it? Absolutely,
yeah. But the big star of the night, really, for Glasgow, I think, was Daniel Hume. Obviously, he knows the track well, but I'd seen him at Monmouth the previous Monday, and Monmouth's probably not Daniel's sort of track, to be fair, is it? But he rode pretty well in that meeting, but he was superb on.
He showed his knowledge of the track, didn't he?
He did, yeah. What was nice as well was there was a lot after the meeting. Obviously, I was hanging around afterwards, and there was a lot of Birmingham fans that were going up to him and shaking his hand and saying "well done," which I thought was nice. I mean, we've both met Daniel before. He's a nice smashing lad, and really, really exciting rider to watch. And he's made some real progress this season. He's having a very good year. Of course, he's been rewarded with the reserve spot in the British final, of course. So. Obviously, the only way he'll ride that meeting, of course, is if anybody gets injured, which of course we don't.
We don't want that to happen.
But hopefully, in a couple of years' time, maybe he'll be getting a chance.
He's certainly shown the form for it at the moment. Yeah, he was Glasgow's star, I think, and thoroughly deserved his Heat 15 place, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, Birmingham's gating was absolutely atrocious.
It was bad.
Really,
it was
really
bad.
Poor.
It was really bad. I mean, there's no getting away from it.
Yeah.
I mean, James Shane's gating was always poor anyway, so and he battled hard for those points as he always does.
I mean, the track was raceable. I mean, there was a couple of good races in the meeting, but
there was a few good races.
Really, Birmingham would just leave themselves far too much to do at the starts.
I would agree with that.
I think our 2 sides should race against each other and just find out which team's got the worst gate.
I think we'd win. I think we'd win. So that's it. Wolverhampton haven't done anything.
Yep, we had a meeting last night at Peterborough, of course, and won. Fingers crossed it's not our last trip to Peterborough. Of course, it's the last scheduled trip this season unless Peterborough get in the playoffs. But I think that win last night has really put. That defeat, I should say, for Peterborough last night's probably put pay to it, in fairness. I mean, they were 8 points up after 5 races. They made a really good start to the meeting, and we hit them back with 2 5-1s in 7 and 8, and another one again in heat 10 and 11, and just completely knocked the stuffing out of the Panthers. Obviously, a superb performance again by Chris Harris, 18 and 1 from his rides. Really not a fantastic amount of support though. Benjamin Basso scored 14 points from 7 rides. Hans Hansen 1 from 2. Hans Hansen's Peterborough legend, but you just wonder whether maybe this is a season too far for Hans. Certainly in the top league, he's really struggled throughout the season. But a good solid performance from Wolves. Sam Masters 5 and 1. It's not Sam's favourite track, and he didn't have a particularly good start last night, but got a paid win and a second in his last 2 rides. Steve Worrell 7 and 1, Luke Becker 10, Ryan Douglas 11 and 3, Nick Morris 6 and 2, Drew Kemp 5 and 1, Leon Flint 4 and 1. So after a poor start to the meeting, it was a really good performance from the Wolves team to turn it round last night. And just as I say, fingers crossed that that's not the last time Wolves visit Peterborough, even though it's not been Wolves' favourite track over the years.
Talking about Luke Becker, I keep getting so many people coming up to me during match nights saying we should sign Luke Becker at Birmingham. I mean, that's obviously if he wants to be signed. That's the first thing. And he would turn our season around.
He'd be a good number 1 in that league. It's whether what I've been told is that there has been some talk about him getting a team in the Championship, but that he's been advised not to do a Championship Speedway. I don't know whether that's true. That's just from hearsay.
It seems like, I mean, he might as well, because there wouldn't be that many meetings left to go anyway, would there?
No, that's right. I mean, he didn't have a great start to this season, but he's certainly his form in the last 2 or 3 matches for Wolves has been excellent.
Oh, I'd love to see him riding for Birmingham. It would be we need something to put bums on seats. It's important. Simon Corbett says, "Is it the Summer Trophy or the Jubilee Trophy?" It is the Jubilee Trophy. I don't know why.
Yeah. It's got it on the BSBL website as the Summer Trophy, but unless they've decided to change the name at the last
According
minute.
to the Brummy site, it's now the Jubilee Trophy.
Oh,
okay. Jeff Daniels says, fortunately, it's the same airport for Vojens as for Esberg. Hotels are going to be awkward, believe no tickets refunds. Yep, and Birmingham's losing 32-22 at Plymouth tonight as we speak. Evening taverners from a wet Ipswich. Oh, okay.
Right. It was a bit rained here a bit earlier, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
well, you can call it rain.
Yeah.
Morris and Pearson need replacing now, says Anthony Bailey.
Matty Weathers, maybe.
I disagree. I certainly disagree on Ashley Morris. I think he's been one of the few pluses for us this year. He's showing signs of getting...
Yeah, he can be a little bit inconsistent, can't
and
he?
He's a good gaiter as well.
Yes, he wasn't last week.
No, nobody was. And the Pearson thing, I think we just have to suck that one up. I think that's for next year, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Maybe not even for next year, I think, possibly even the year after.
But, well, we shall see. Having attended Aces Lynn last night, the Aces' recent home form is quality. All 7 riders are achieving above their average. Playoffs are won by gaining home advantage, something the Aces have failed in past years. This season they all seem to have found the form, hopefully. I think we would both agree with that.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got to say, 59-31 last night, but it was a really good meeting. King's Lynn obviously struggling now without... Niels Everson.
Yeah.
Of course, they've just got no strength at the top end
where they need it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's after a really good start to the season as well. It just sort of looks like it's petering out into a season of nothing really for Kings Lynn. I think the top 4 now is pretty much decided. I think Peterborough's defeat last night has sort of put the kibosh on them making a late charge. You never know, but. I think they're going to have to pull some strings out now to get themselves into that top 4.
Top 4 seem to be sealed now.
Looks like it's going to be a 5-9 in Heat 10 because we've had Morris and Castagna excluded. Okay. Yeah, I think there's not many people in Birmingham that can wait now for the end of the season. Really,
yes.
It's we've seen some good meetings. To be fair,
we have seen good racing,
and so hopefully that will continue for the rest of the season. But if we don't, I think we need to get something from Plymouth tonight to get anything out of the Jubilee Trophy.
Try and get a point at least. It's going to be hard though, I think.
Right, it is now
top 4 seem to be sealed now.
Behind.
Peterborough really had to win last night, I felt. Peterborough need to get some away wins now to try and rescue it, I feel.
They have had away wins, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
So.
But I think they're just going to pay the price for such a poor start to the season.
Jeff Daniels says, despite reports the crowd was low last night, I disagree. It was at least 1,200. The NSS is a big stadium and deceiving to look at. Grandstand seats 1,200 and back straight 1,800. And last night Bellevue gave away free tickets to community group last night.
Yeah, there was a lot of kids there, which is really encouraging to say. You want us to get some more
And
kids.
Spuddy says, evening chaps, just a quick one, as watching the Brum meeting. So obviously there's a live stream to that.
Yep.
Shocking decision in Heat 10 with referee excluding Paco for very little contact on Botal. Shocking reffing that. Okay.
We'll see that, I'm sure, at some point.
I'm sure we will.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Right, shall we have a look at the British final?
We will indeed. It's on August the 1st, of course.
Are we already going to predict it's Dan Bewley before we even see the...
Well, let me give you the lineup first
Okay.
before we start jumping the gun. So, not in riding order at the moment. Dan Bewley, Adam Ellis, the defending champion, Chris Harris, Danny King, Richard Lawson, Steve Worrell, Craig Cook, Carl Howarth, Charles Wright, Richie Worrell, Lewis Kerr, Scott Nichols, Paul Stark, Ben Barker, Leon Flint and Tom Brennan, with the reserves Daniel Hume and Connor Mountain.
Yeah, okay, so Dan Bewley's going to win that one then.
He's going to be the favourite, isn't he?
He's got to be,
Yeah, I mean,
hasn't
obviously he knows the track. I mean, obviously he's not riding there this year, but he knows the place like the back of his hand. But Adam Ellis is going to want to prove that last season wasn't, a flash in the pan. He'll want to hang on to that,
Yep,
to that
he will.
title.
And you wouldn't, to be fair, he's on fairly decent form, but I just think Dan Bewley's gone on a...
There's one rider in that field
Personally.
that I will be looking forward to seeing. Even he may not win it, but I think he can certainly do some damage to somebody who will be trying to win it, and that's Tom Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
Knows the track well, having a very good season.
Got a lot of time for him.
Yeah, first of the I think he's the first of the rising stars to get himself into the top 5 of the averages of a team. He's now been featured when it's at Bellevue, and they're the strongest team in the league. So it's easy to say Dan Bewley's the favourite, and there's no doubt that he will be, but I don't think it's a cast iron certainty that he's going to get it all his own way. Obviously, if the track's wet, Darren King's going to fancy his chances because, of course, he won the British final.
When is it?
It's on August the 1st.
Okay.
It's on a Monday night, which again is...
Apparently you have to be in Ipswich for things to be wet, but I don't know what's going on in Ipswich.
Again, it's probably the biggest meeting of the season on the British calendar, and it's on a Monday night. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Should be a weekend meeting, but
yeah. I mean, I would love to go to it, but it's
not on a Monday night.
Not on a Monday night. It's and also having experienced British finals before, it never runs smoothly. There's always first turn incidents and the like, because it means a lot to the riders.
It was a Monmouth for years, and I stopped going in the end because you were getting to the point where it was 11:30 and you're still waiting for the meeting to finish.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I love my Speedway, but not to the point where I want to be watching it at nearly midnight.
And if you've got to make your way back from Manchester to wherever, but I hope it gets a big crowd. I haven't said all that, but are they streaming it? Do we know?
It'll be on Eurosport, I would have thought.
Okay.
So. But I mean, the British final, I think, in the last few years has sort of regained a lot of its sparkle, hasn't it? Because it's suddenly become a prestigious meeting again. Obviously, I think the having the winner of it or the high scoring non-GP rider getting the wild card at Cardiff is a real incentive because it gives
absolutely.
The last British Grand Prix, of course, 2019, Charles Wright, of course, got the chance to race at Cardiff, which, with all due respect to Charles Wright, he probably wouldn't have got anyway.
No. Absolutely. Talking of the British GP, that's the next GP.
Yes, on the 13th
I'm still
August.
hoping it's on my birthday. I'm still got my fingers crossed that I've got a ticket. We shall see. So Ty Woffington, let's talk about him a little bit. First of all, the fact that he's again not in the British final.
Yeah.
That's
not surprising. But
not surprising, but can you think of any other sport where that would happen?
I've said this a few times. I don't really have an issue with him not riding in the league, but I do think he should race in the British Championship. I mean, his reasoning before was to give other top British riders a chance, but you've got quite a few of them now. I mean, if he was in it, would he be the favourite? On current form, possibly not.
Possibly not. I'd probably be second favourite. I think.
Maybe if Robert Lambert was in it, he'd probably be third favourite.
Yeah. Well, there is. Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I mean it's. Yeah, I think the least said about that. It's disappointing from a fan's point of view.
Yeah.
But he's never won the British GP.
Yeah.
He's not going to be world champion this year. He's always wanted to win the British GP. Could he put in a big effort, do you think?
Yeah, it's the one thing I think that's missing from his cabins at the moment, isn't it? A win in his home GP. The last British GP, of course, was 2019, when of course he had a poor season, and I remember going into that meeting thinking he'd be really up for it, and he never got going.
No,
and he was really low after the meeting as well.
I think the pressure on him at the British GP is so big.
Yeah.
But perhaps this year not as big because you've also got Robert Lambert there. You've also got Dan Bewley, who are both arguably doing better than him, got better form than him at the moment.
Yeah, he's probably not going to be the most fancied of the three British riders, is he?
So, maybe he can come in under the radar a little bit, and maybe...
Dan Beard obviously has never ridden there, so Robert Lambert's ridden there once as a wild card, maybe even twice. So there's going to be it's not like when Bomber won it in 2007, because there was no pressure on him at all.
No.
He was obviously new in the GPs then, and he was really the spoiler in the final, and he well and truly sport the final.
Didn't he? He was. That is still for me one of the best Speedway moments I've seen.
It was, and
it was exciting.
I was lucky enough to have been there. It was such a phenomenal. The moment when he crossed the line in front, it was, it was pandemonium in the place. It really was it was one of those moments that will live with you for the rest of your life if you experienced it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so should we get through a few of these comments?
Yeah. Why not?
Nichols Anderson, a season too far. Missing Palm Toft, always injured. Love to see Harris win. Nicola Goldman says, evening all, can I say a big thank you to all at Kent Royals for allowing me to commentate live on my radio station, and to all who tuned in. Okie dokie. Give us a link to your radio station and we'll share that. Susan Jordan, just hope the Brummies will continue 2023. The consortium have worked so hard this year.
Yeah, they've put a lot of work in.
They have put a lot of work in. A lot of volunteers have put a lot of work in as well. They're down there now putting in this heat. God bless them, putting the covers on the Greyhound track. I wouldn't like to do it in this heat. I believe Sheffield Council contacted about their supposed curfew, and the council couldn't find anything about a curfew. Apparently, the dogs finished just after 22:30 the other night, so later than the Speedway. We know bikes are louder than dogs, but does seem a bit suspicious. Hoping that result doesn't have too much of a bearing at the end of the season's standings.
It may well do. There was, I think it was 8 points that Sheffield won by in the end.
Yeah.
Ipswich would have, especially with Doyle and King in the last two of the last three races, they would have certainly fancied the chances of getting a point out of that Ipswich.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? But yeah, it did seem a little bit. I mean, you're going to get the conspiracists who are thinking, well, did Sheffield do that to make sure the Ipswich didn't get a point, but not able to prove it or not able to deny it. I suppose it's one of those things that Speedo fans love to pick, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Tom would have won Heat 15 last night, only for a puncture on last lap. Got pipped on the line, sadly. He would have been the first RS to win Heat 15.
I'm looking forward to seeing Josh Pickering again tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
Always really good value for him.
He was great last time.
He's turning into one of my favourite riders at the moment. He's exciting to watch him. He was superb at Perry Bar last time, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, I am really looking at good guess to pick. Morley just fell off on it. This is Birmingham versus Plymouth, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, Plymouth versus Birmingham, I should say. Morley just fell off on his own. Surprised the ref didn't exclude Steph or Yuli for that one. And the British final is definitely on Eurosport.
Yep.
I like the 3 tacky subs in the test match. Going back to it in our leagues would equalise the teams because of top-heavy teams.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the test match last week. Of course, the rest of the world won it by 8. Was anybody who went to Glasgow? Because the consensus I've seen is that the racing was very good, but the track was very, very dusty, which I suppose is understandable given the
weather at the moment.
Weather conditions. I mean, I do lament the loss of the regular test matches, and it's good that we're starting to see a few of them come back into the calendar now.
It'd be it is great. I'd love to go to one.
Yeah.
Glasgow's just too far, unfortunately. Brian Buck seems to be numerous lengthy delays at Plymouth tonight. Is there a problem with the track? Only that I keep falling off from what I can see. Some tracks have their own voluntary curfew in deference to local residents, although this voluntary curfew can come in useful occasionally.
Yeah, there's a voluntary curfew at Wolves as well. So it's about 10:30, I think. So, and obviously some clubs it's a compulsory curfew, unfortunately, in Birmingham obviously being one of them.
Dylan Spuddy Hodgett says it's crazy to think Pico wasn't even in the Premier until last season. Now he's one of the best riders in the league. Would love to see him at Wolves sometime.
I certainly would as well.
I'd love to see him at Birmingham.
Given the influx of Aussie riders that Wolves have signed over the last few years, it's you certainly can't rule it out.
Mm-hmm.
But he's So he really was superb last night. Really exciting to watch.
Jeff Daniels, agree with you. Pickering was good value last night and always 100% trier in the bomber mould.
He certainly is.
I think he's keeps up this sort of progress. He's one for a future GP, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be nice to see somebody like that riding. Get some excitement.
Yeah, there's always a rider in the league that is racing against your team, but you're always thinking, oh, he's a rider I want to go and watch, and he's rapidly turning into that at the moment.
He's for a lot of people.
He's arguably the most exciting rider in the top league at the moment.
There was another rider last week that people are thinking the same sort of things have been said about him, and I forgot his name now. Is it Basso?
Benjamin Basso, yeah.
Basso, yeah. I thought he was a little bit like an accident waiting to happen, to be honest, but it certainly was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Positive signs from Drew and Leon last night. Still feels like 1 point dropped, though, with only taking 3. But I guess we can't be greedy.
Yeah, Leon Flint always does well at Peterborough, though. It's his sort of track.
Yeah, big, open, wide.
Yeah.
And Drew, was he better as well? He's getting the programme out.
Yeah, 6 points from his 5 rides.
That's not.
He's had a bit of a tough time in the last few meetings, Drew Kemp, but it's still difficult to look at that Wolves team and think that the reserve strength might be lacking against when it comes to the playoffs at the end of the season.
You never know what's going to happen, though, do you? Speedway, it's a funny old game, as somebody once said. It's a funny old game. Yeah.
And I think we've caught up with our comments.
Well, let's have a look at the scores at Birmingham Plymouth. At the moment, it is. I've got it as
40-25.
40-25.
Okay, you're on a little bit further than me. Yeah. Oh dear. What did I predict for this one? I don't want to know.
We'll have a look shortly.
I don't want to know.
This is why I'm up there and you're down there. You've got to do it with your head, not your heart.
Can you use spin on it?
Okay.
Okay, so anybody else want to put your comments up? I think have we got anything on the other? You can have a look at those as well.
Yeah, I get the feeling Wolves are regretting going so top heavy now, though.
Yeah, I think so. Do agree with that.
And Jeff's saying this season it's top 4th against and 3rd, 2nd and 3rd.
It's top against 4th and 2nd against 3rd. That's usually how it works out, isn't it? Oh. Well, normally it's that they get to choose.
Yeah, but obviously not this season. So, I think unfortunately, if you're 4th, and it means the way things are going, you're going to be facing Bellevue. So it's going to be a tall order. That 2nd and 3rd meeting's got.
Shall we have a look at the tables? Actually,
yeah, we're pretty much over the halfway stage of the season now, aren't we? So we'll have a look at the.
No, we're talking about the league.
I know. I just wanted to plug the fact that you're right the way down,
and that you've just overtaken Matt.
Yeah.
We are planning on murdering you, by the way.
I don't know if I haven't got the tables up. So,
well, come on,
league tables. We were looking at them a few minutes ago.
Was I?
Yeah.
This isn't prepared, by the way, folks. If you were under the impression that we spend hours preparing the show, you're sadly mistaken.
I don't know if the Premiership got that one up. So any second now, this will come up, and where is it?
Well, obviously the top table won't take too long to review, but there's only been 6 teams in it. But we will have a look at the other 2 tables as well.
There's the Premiership one.
That's the one.
That's the one. Okay, so we've got Bellevue at the top. The first 3 teams have all done 11 matches, so it's a fairly representative. So you've got Bellevue at 23, Ipswich at 22, Wolverhampton with 21 points, and then Sheffield have only done 9 matches at 20 points. So you would have to say, then you got Peterborough 11 matches on 10 points, and Kings Lynn 9 matches on 9 points. You have to say that those 2 are out of it.
Yeah, the top 4 is pretty much decided, I think, now, isn't it? So.
Sheffield possibly favourites to get 3rd place, maybe.
Possibly.
They have 2 matches in hand and they're only 1 point behind.
They have, but to be fair to Sheffield, they've maybe gone off the ball a little bit.
At the beginning of the season, we were waxing lyrical about them, weren't we?
Yeah. You certainly can't rule Ipswich out because if they can stay in meetings with their top end, they've got every chance of nicking the point somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not that far behind Bellevue.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to bear in mind we've lost to Ipswich twice at home this season. I wouldn't want to be facing them, to be honest, either. But
yes, well, yeah,
that's
you're going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's either going to be Bellevue or Ipswich, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which would be your preference?
Well,
I would imagine, from a point of view of a big crowd, Bellevue would be a preference for your promoters.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, the Wolves-Bellevue matches have become quite intense over the last 4 or 5 seasons. And Bellevue usually do bring a massive crowd down from Manchester to Monmouth. And Wolves usually take quite a few up there, so that would be ideal in terms of getting a big crowd. I think Sheffield obviously bought quite a lot to Monmouth when they've been to Wolves this season as well, and Wolves took quite a few up there. Certainly when I went up there was quite a lot of Wolves fans went up. So,
but that's not likely to be a first round match, is it?
Well, that's a possibility, I suppose. Obviously, we're all. It's possible Wolves may well finish 4th. Sheffield and Ipswich play off for the second and third team. Wolves have to take on Bellevue, but we have had a good record against Bellevue in the playoffs over the years. But whether we can keep that going, you never know. You never know. At the end of the day, Bellevue haven't done quite as well at Wolves in the matches they've had this season.
They had a really bad start to the season, didn't they? Yeah. Really.
We did when we
still
went there,
find themselves top.
When we went there for the league match, I think we only lost by 12 points, and we rode really well from what people who were there told me. Bellevue just in the end just had a bit too much strength in the top end.
You'd probably take that.
12-point deficit from Bellevue, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think you'd probably take that. Okay, Premiership table. Championship, I beg your pardon. So you've got the top. It's the top 6 that make it in the Premiership, of course, and you've got 16 matches, 14 matches, 15 and 13, and so they're all that round that sort of area. But
that's what I love to see when it's fairly even, the matches as well. You haven't got some teams with 10 matches and some with 2. It just looks silly.
So, but you got Leicester are running away with it, aren't they, for the top spot? Yeah,
I think Glasgow obviously want the second spot, don't they? I think
they've got 2 matches in hand, to be fair, so they could. They could take the title. I mean, I've got to say, out of the teams that I've seen down at Birmingham this year, I would pick Glasgow as being the strongest team.
Yeah.
I think they're really, really. I don't think there's a weak link in there at all.
Yeah, I mean, you think back to when Paul were at Perry Bar. I mean, Birmingham pushed them in the first half of the meeting. It was only in the second half when Paul began to pull away.
Yeah, when our lack of top end power starts to.
Got to be honest though, Paul's recent form has not been great, has it?
No, it hasn't. They've been a bit. Yes,
I think the match they have won was against Berwick, and they didn't win that convincingly. I think they only won it by 6. Was that a draw? It might have been a draw actually. I know they got a draw at Berwick, which by all accounts was rather a fortuitous draw as well. Yeah, it was 49-41. They beat Berwick by at home, so it's not. I mean, you would have had that down as quite a comfortable win. I suppose 8 points is comfortable, but it's maybe not quite as.
So, going down to 9 and 10, just for a second, you got Birmingham's out of the wooden spoon position at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're inheriting the wooden spoon position from Newcastle, or Berwick is at the moment. Berwick, obviously, they've got a few matches in hand over us, but it does make this week's match against Berwick.
Berwick have got
very important.
Berwick have got one home match in the league left. That's against.
It's not this week. We're against Plymouth this week, but we have got.
Plymouth, yeah. They've still got Plymouth to come to Sheffield Park, and they've got to go to Birmingham. They've got to go to Leicester. They've got to go to Oxford, and they've got to go to Scunthorpe. So
the match against Birmingham when they get there is going to possibly be quite important for to avoid which I would love to do. Please.
I think the psychological thing for Birmingham would be to just avoid finishing bottom, wouldn't it? You don't want that to really.
You don't want that.
When
Berwick have surprised me that they've been so poor.
Yeah, they have been a little bit. They've not been convincing. They've had some big wins. I mean, they beat Birmingham convincingly on the opening night of the season, and they've beaten Edinburgh convincingly. They've beaten Oxford convincingly as well. But the rest of the results at home have been very patchy.
So we'll have a look at the top four or top six now, which is Leicester. They're obviously in. Glasgow, you've got to say they're safe now. You would have thought. Probably the same for Poole. Plymouth and Edinburgh are both on 25 points. Plymouth 13 matches and Edinburgh 15. Then you've got Redcar on 23 with 14 matches. And Scunthorpe with 22 on 14 matches. I mean, those, all sorts of stuff could happen around those two places.
Yeah, I think it's 3 of the 5, isn't it? It's five teams still in it. They are, with the best will in the world, and Birmingham aren't going to muscle their way into the.
No.
It's not impossible, but you don't think it's very likely.
No, it doesn't. No. Yeah, it is against. I mean, I don't think Oxford's got much of a chance either, to be honest. Now,
yeah,
and they're another one that surprised me.
I thought Oxford would have been higher up than that. I suppose they've got the fact that they haven't got any home track advantage as well. When they've lost 3 home matches this season, so
one of them to us.
Yeah, they've
strangely.
I know they've lost to Birmingham. They've lost to Glasgow. They've lost to Leicester. They've lost to Poole as well. So. So I think the Birmingham one obviously was the big surprise of the.
Probably a bigger surprise to us, to be honest. But
no shocks at the top there, then, really.
No, but I mean it's very competitive. I mean Leicester. Are they favourites to win the thing because of their home advantage?
Possibly, yeah. They've picked up 5 away wins in fairness as well. So,
but they do absolutely massacre people at home, don't they? And that's the big danger, I suppose.
Yeah. Should we have a look at the NDL as well?
Let's give the NDL a look. Yeah.
Yep. That's taken a bit of a time to get going. I think though
this is very slow at Plymouth, by the way.
Yeah. Berwick top of that league on 23 and 10. Leicester 20 from 8. Oxford 13 from 7. Bellevue 12 from 7. Kent have only had 4 matches this season. Berwick have had 10, and we're in July. So, but at the moment, I mean, that looks a 2-horse race, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Berwick.
Why have Kent only played 4? Is that due to weather or what? Why would you only? Why?
I don't know.
That's quite a difference between 4 and 10.
I mean, Armadale have only had 5 matches, and Mildenhall have only had 5 matches as well.
I think it was a late start for all of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it tends to start quite later, doesn't it? The
NDL.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame really because the NDL 4 or 5 years ago was probably the strongest league of the 3, wasn't it? But it's sort of lost a bit of sparkle. I think in the last few years, it's just it's lost Birmingham, it's lost Cradley, it's lost
Eastbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not. I think Mildenhall's the only standalone club now, isn't it?
Well, Kent as well.
Kent, yes, of course. Which great little track, Kent. Have you been to it?
I've never been there. No.
It's a lovely little track. I love it. Good racing as well. You should go. Okay, so I mean, what are we saying at the moment? You think Berwick's the favourites? I think, or is it Leicester yet again? Because of. I mean, actually, to be fair, Berwick's got quite a decent home track advantage as well, hasn't it? So that might be an interesting. Little.
Has it ever happened before
battle.
where, like, say, one club has won both leagues? Like Leicester.
I think Leicester did it, didn't they?
Oh right, okay.
I think Leicester did it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so it
NDL
has been done.
Yeah.
It has been done. Yeah.
Could happen again then.
Even Paul haven't managed to do it. So
No. Well, there we go. Yeah. Right, is there any more comments to go before we start looking at the Nigel Pearson?
Division League.
That's the word.
Okay. Egg Risk guesting for Plymouth at Brum tomorrow.
I don't think that's any great worry for us, is it?
And I believe it's the break at Plymouth versus Brummies.
Yeah, so we'll be printing that on Norwich Rissy's pit board tomorrow night. So.
but we're countering with Josh Pickering. That's I think of the two, I know which one I would prefer to have. That's really what I meant.
This keeps popping up.
Apparently Brum had a heat advantage in Heat 12. Stop the world. Yeah, we're coming back from now. You've
just
seen
need
it
3 more
first.
now.
Yeah, you've seen it here first. It's not updated on Speedway update, so shh.
Your dad has probably fell off the chair.
Yeah.
So onto our tables. Simon Corbett's on 1-3.
Gaza says Leicester to win the championship and go into the Premiership. Not sure about that.
I'm not so sure, to be honest.
They've dipped their toe in before, and I think they got burnt of it, didn't they?
Yeah. I think losing the Saturday nights, Bennett did for Leicester in the top league.
Yeah.
So Simon's at the top. Steve Morgan, followed by Andrew Garner, Ben Clifton, Chris Brown.
Who?
Chris Brown.
Who?
And Matt Book in 6th. The rest aren't worth talking about. No, it's actually that middle plaque's quite
tight.
Quite tight, isn't it? Yeah.
And then you get 17th. And
Yeah. Duncan's on 1-2-3, by the way, not 1-2-2, but still in the same place.
Right, okay. But Simon's pulled away a little bit. He's been at the top all through, hasn't he?
He's been at the top for 2 years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's a robot.
Got to be true.
Right, well, we've got a few matches to get through.
Yeah, so let's get on with it then. Anybody out there, you can all take part. Put your scores up on the chat box. It doesn't matter whether you've done it before or not. You're still going to beat me.
Yep.
Give it a go. It's fun. So they tell me.
Yeah. It's fun at the top. I know that.
And I can't read any of those. That's far too
Well, I've got
small
them
for
written
me.
down here,
Okay,
so we've
go
got
on
this.
then.
So let's go for the first one. Oxford against Berwick.
I think we're starting with Chris today.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Could be.
Oxford v Berwick then.
Tactical.
Ox versus
I'll
Berwick.
go Berwick by 12.
It's at Oxford, by the way.
Oxford versus Berwick. Okay.
Well, we've
You've
got
just seen the league table.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I'm going to say Oxford by 10.
There's got to be a shock somewhere.
I've gone Oxford by 14.
Okie dokie. And the next match.
Poole against Glasgow. Will be a
Oh, that's
Glasgow
gonna
fancy
be,
the chances, won't they, really,
Yeah.
on form?
You would think so. It's up to me, and I'm actually going to say Glasgow by 6. It's up to you.
I've gone Glasgow by 4 on that one.
Oh, okay. I'll go Poole by 2.
Okay.
That could go either way.
You can really
Poole's
could.
form isn't great either, so... Okay, next up is Birmingham against Plymouth. That's the return of tonight's match.
And it's for you.
I've gone for Birmingham by 4.
Chris?
I'll go Plymouth by 8.
I'm going to say Birmingham by 6.
Must win, isn't it, really, for Birmingham?
Mm-hmm. Simon Corbett's gone Brum by 10, so that's... So we're definitely going to win because
Let's just hope it's as entertaining as the last time Plymouth came to Perry Bar, because that was an absolute cracker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Next up, we go into the top league. It's Ipswich against Bellevue.
Chris?
I'll go...
That's going to be a cracking meeting as well,
Ipswich
isn't it?
by 6.
I'm going to go for a draw.
I've gone Bellevue by 2. That could go either way, that one.
Okay, next.
Kings Lynn against Peterborough.
Oh, Peterborough. It's a must-win for Peterborough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really. I'm actually going to say Peterborough by 4.
Yep. I've gone the same. Peterborough by 4.
Have you got them mixed up there a bit?
Nope.
What did you just say then?
Kings Lynn versus Peterborough.
Oh, it's got on here, Kings Lynn versus Wolverhampton.
It is Kings Lynn v Wolves, sorry.
See.
Do apologise
See,
for
I have
that.
to keep an eye on him, Mike. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you certainly have to. Right, can we? Right, so that's obviously going to be Kings Lynn by 30 points. No, okay. I'm going to say the same.
Yeah, I've said the same as well.
Kings Lynn by 6.
Okay, he's going to slip. He's going to slip this week, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's some shock ones.
Okay, next up we've got Sheffield against Peterborough. That was the match that I mixed up with.
Sheffield versus Peterborough. My shout, I believe. No, it's not. It's your shout. Oh.
I've gone Sheffield by 10.
I'll go Sheffield by 6.
Sheffield by 12.
Okay. Glasgow against Berwick.
Glasgow against Berwick. Who's this one? It's down to you, Chris.
Glasgow by 8.
Glasgow by 20.
I've gone Glasgow by 18. Okay.
Okay.
Next up, Redcar against Leicester.
And that's down to me. I'm going to say Redcar by 2.
I've gone Redcar by 8.
I'll go middle fiddle, Redcar by 6.
Okay. Armadale against Kent in the NDL.
And this is down to you.
I've gone Kent by 10.
I'll go Kent by 14.
Just because I need to try and pick some points up, I'm going to go Armadale by 2. Okay, yep.
Okay, staying in the NDL, it's Bellevue against Mildenhall.
Go on then, Chris.
Bellevue versus Milton. I'll go Bellevue by 6.
Bellevue by 4.
I've gone Bellevue by 8. Next up is Leicester against Edinburgh.
That's me, isn't it?
Nope.
I'm going to say Leicester by 12.
I've gone Leicester by 10.
I'll go Leicester by 8.
Okie doke.
Berwick against Redcar is next up. This is the quarter-final of the Knockout Cup.
That's
First
going to be
leg,
an
second
interesting.
leg.
That's going to be interesting.
Is it me? You?
No, it's Matt.
Berwick by 6, I've gone.
I'll go Berwick by 12.
I'm going to say, I'm going to say Berwick by 6 as well. Actually, that's going to make for an interesting first and second leg, isn't it?
Well, that is the second leg, actually. Sorry.
Oh,
It is the
okay.
second leg here. Next up, back in the NDL, it's Leicester against Armadale.
Leicester against Armadale, and that's up to you, Chris.
Leicester by 12.
Leicester by 16.
Leicester by 28.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's second v bottom, isn't it, sir?
Okay.
Okay. And then it's Mildenhall against Armadale is the next one.
And that's down to me. I'm going to say Mouldy by 16 again.
I've gone for, what did I go for? I went for Mildenhall by 24.
I'll go.
Not an Armadale fan then.
Well, it's too tough made it for them, isn't it?
I'll go Mildenhall by 20.
Okay, next round of the Premiership here, so we won't be doing that one. Plymouth against Poole, Jubilee League. That's on next Tuesday.
It's up to you, Matt.
Draw.
Interesting.
I'll go Poole by 4.
I'm going to say Plymouth by 2. We've all gone with totally different results there.
Yep.
That's interesting.
And the last one, Oxford against Birmingham.
That's Oxford.
Yes.
Oxford versus Birmingham.
Yeah.
It's up to you, Chris.
Oxford by 12.
It's very difficult, isn't it? Because it just it depends very much on who's riding,
Yeah.
basically, guests-wise. So I'm going to say, because we've done it before, I'm going to say Birmingham by 2. Just because hope springs eternal and nobody else is going to do it. Say that. So, right.
Okay,
Sure.
that's it, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I went for Oxford by 8 on that one. So
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I did tell. I did warn you.
Yeah.
He did, didn't you?
I did warn you.
Yeah.
Open the door, please. Right, there we go.
So keep the comments coming for the last 8 minutes.
I would like people's thoughts on what I spoke about. At the beginning, I tried to be a little bit cryptic, but I'm obviously talking about the Plymouth situation and Mr. He did one.
Edward Kennett.
Edward Kennett. That's the one. Who'd retired and then came back and did one heat and was injured and hasn't been seen off since. And they've gone guest. I mean, you could say Birmingham have done something similar. Sorry to say the comeback is off. Plymouth 5-1 in 13 and Paco excluded in 14 and Young James struggling, so expecting a 5-1 in 14. Well.
Yeah, we will have a look in 47-30.
But week after week after week, they're guest top scores for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in a difficult position, I understand.
Well,
that,
they are.
but-
I mean, at the end of the day, you can't blame Plymouth for it. They're just taking advantage of the rules, aren't they? So it's really the rule that's the fault with that. I mean, but a lot of people have said over the years guests are a necessary evil in Speedway, but
Well, they are at the moment for sure, because I mean, people talk about doing the squad system thing. I know, but we've spoke about that before. But the riders aren't not there to do it.
no.
You'd have riders doubling up in the squads.
Yeah.
Well, you can't ride for them tonight. You're riding for us against them.
Well, that's it, so.
I mean that. Yeah. Does anybody know why Craig Cook withdrew from guesting at King's Lynn last night?
I heard,
Answers on a postcard?
Yeah, I heard something on the lines that he was ill or something. I don't know. That's
He was unwell, apparently. Could explain his poor meeting for the GP.
yeah, possibly.
Yeah. There was something else there that I wanted
that
to
one,
something about. Track is worse than Brum last season, and that's saying something. Which track is worse?
Plymouth, I would imagine so.
Right. Last night, Craig Cook was supposed to guest at number 1 for Everson, yet Cook is a second string at Sheffield, averaging 5.6. Strange. It's possibly that he was the only person available. This happens, doesn't it?
Simon says it's a farce that riders can ride in all 3 leagues.
That's what the riders want, though. They want the extra meetings, don't they? And you can't
Well,
blame them
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
If I was a rider, I'd do it. So
Yeah.
that's why the riders don't want doubling up got rid of, because they want the extra meetings. And to be honest, from the rider side of it, you can't blame them.
No, you can't. But perhaps there needs to be some sort of control on it. Packer takes attack stops in heat 14 when we have already lost.
Then gets excluded.
Then gets excluded.
Only in Speedway.
Probably didn't fancy coming up against Zagar. Had a bad meeting last week for Sheffield. It did most of the team. Hasn't rode well at Bellevue of the last season, says Craig
Yeah,
Smith.
I mean, he was part of the furniture at Bellevue, wasn't he, Craig Cook? So
Yeah,
for
yeah.
quite a few years.
He felt hard done by when they got rid of him, as I remember.
Yeah.
He's not the easiest of characters.
He's complex. He's a complex
Isn't he?
character, isn't he? I mean, he has had his issues. Obviously, I think people are aware of that.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't hold himself well when he's walking around the track, and I noticed. And that's not a criticism; it's an observation.
Yeah.
And as you say, he has had his problems, but he is very complex. And yeah, with the Polish rules being relaxed next season, hopefully some big names will start to come back. Although that would mean admission would go through the roof.
Well, you wonder whether that may well happen anyway with the cost of living going up. So.
Yeah, that's another thing, and
Yeah.
I think that there is connections between that and the Klaus Vissing situation.
Yeah.
From what
That's the whisper that I've heard. Yeah, I know that.
So, hey ho. Well, I think we're
almost there. Yeah,
so I think there's not a lot else to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Crowd at Wolves have not been great the past couple of weeks.
No, they haven't been.
That's sad to say.
Wasn't a great crowd against Ipswich, I don't think. It was a decent crowd. I think it's certainly the sort of crowd I think Nigel Tolley would like at Perry
Yes,
Bar. But
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange, because only a few weeks ago you were saying how good the crowds were.
crowds have been brilliant to Wolves
you
over the
know,
last couple of years, but they haven't been as good the last couple of weeks. I will say that.
And I think we'll probably finish with this this comment. Klaus is just a clown. Never seemed interested from the off. I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Said Dylan Spuddy Hodgetts. I'll make that clear. Right, thank you again, everybody. Hope you're all still with us at the end of this heat wave.
Yep. Try and stay cool.
Stay cool, keep drinking, and have a good Speedway week. See you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay.